How will digitalized processes empower the shopping experience of the future?
Die C4HANA-Plattform
The
bietet
C4HANA platform provides the full range of functionalities needed to offer digital store formats.
Wir sind ein Food- und
We're a food and convenience retailer. We offer an interesting line of products and premium services. So the customer journey is very important for us.
die AVEC-Box schafft dieses ganzheitliche
The
Erlebnis.
AVEC box enables a holistic experience by providing access to a digital store via the AVEC app.
Dann geht man mit der App durch.
Customers can walk through the shop with the app and scan a corresponding code.
Dadurch wird automatisch das Produkt in den Warenkorb.
This automatically adds a product to their shopping cart. The process is completed by paying directly with the AVEC app.
Das Einkaufserlebnis wird durch eine
A
Vielzahl
variety of SAP C4 components ensures the shopping experience. SAP Customer Data Cloud, SAP Commerce Cloud functionalities for the shopping cart, and the SAP Marketing Cloud.
und Daten der SAP Marketing Cloud. Die ganze
The
Interaktion,
entire interaction runs on the SAP Cloud platform.
die sie vor HANA
The C4HANA platform solution gave us an important competitive edge, which enabled us, together with SAP, to secure our position as a front runner.
Dass die Box jetzt hier in der Schweiz ist, dass wir die jetzt hier aufstellen können, ist recht emotional noch für mich. Und jetzt sind wir sie hier in Zürich in der Eventhalle zuerst mal am Aufbauen. Jetzt ist es soweit und es ist super, ich finde es mega.
Herzlich willkommen zu diesem besonderen Anlass. Mein persönliches Highlight bei der Box ist wirklich die ganze Experience, wenn man reingeht. Also der Kaufprozess, das ist wirklich cool, wenn man es testet. Man hat die Möglichkeit, via App den Laden zu öffnen, den Diego posten, an den meisten Standorten sogar rund um die Uhr.
Zusammen mit einem Haufen externen Partnern haben wir Tag und Nacht eigentlich entwickelt, um heute die Eröffnung zu ermöglichen.
Super, sehr innovativ, digital.
Gefällt mir sehr gut. Ich bin sehr zufrieden mit dem Resultat.
Es bedeutet für mich mehr Freiheit, mehr Möglichkeit.
Es ist nochmal gegangen, wo eben alle am gleichen Strang gezogen haben.
Mit der AVEC Box wollen wir einem zunehmenden Kundenbedürfnis nach flexiblen Einkaufserlebnissen rund um die Uhr Rechnung tragen. Mit AVEC X haben wir ein Versuchslabor, an dem wir neue Konzepte, Technologien und Produkte testen können.
Die grösste Innovation an AVEC X sind sicher die Personalisierung, wo wir neue Produkte dem Kunden anbieten können, die er sich selber zusammenstellen kann. 24 Stunden einkaufen, ohne Kasse, alles über eine App steuert. Das ist einmalig in der Schweiz.
Die Digitalstrategie von AVEC ist sehr stark auf das Kundenerlebnis ausgerichtet. Alle die Komponenten so zu verknüpfen, dass es ein gesamtheitliches Erlebnis gibt, das ist eigentlich die Herausforderung Nummer 1.
Wir können der Schweiz zeigen, was wir eigentlich können, wie innovativ wir sind und was wir für neue Sachen auf den Markt bringen können.
Ein tolles Erlebnis.
Ein Meilenstein.
Es ist fantastisch.
Sehr modern.
Super gemacht.
Ich glaube, wir haben hier jetzt wirklich im Schweizer Markt eine richtige Duftmarke gesetzt, oder, die wirklich etwas Neues darstellt.
Saya Jafar, saya sebagai nelayan. Saya di Laut Indonesia, saya lagi mencari tuna sirip kuning.
Jafar's fish join thousands others here at the receiving plant. The scanner is the first step in capturing information about how and where the fish are caught. That info is stored in the cloud and enters a secure blockchain.
It makes me feel proud about myself. You can prove that your fish come from the right source.
Now this is the safety story. Here in this independent laboratory, we test the food safety of the product. The data is instantly available. In the past, I had to search for data, and now it's there at the stroke of a keyboard. The data generated in this laboratory is fed up to the blockchain. It is then available to the premier restaurants and retailers in the United States. I take the responsibility very personally. I never want someone to get sick.
Here we are at the finishing point, the last step before this fish gets to your table. What's incredible is that we track every piece of fish, and we share that information and that transparency with the people who will end up eating this fish.
We have our first look at the new blockchain analytics for the supplier. Let's go through and see Jafar's fish. And it pulls up the amount of fish he's caught on every day, how much they weighed, and how much was fair trade.
It's a lot of data.
This is connected to the SAP blockchain. It's based on permissions, so only specific suppliers will give access to their specific data.
Nice.
Aku jadi pingin nelayan Indonesia untuk selama-lamanya. Saya Jafar, saya bisa membagikan pekerjaan saya kepada dunia.
How do you attract new customers and convert them to customers for life? Well, with SAP, you create an amazing experience for your customers that blends preferred pricing, perfect product proposals, and insight that seems like you can read their minds. Hook your customers for life by connecting with them when and how they want to connect, be it email, a flyer, social media, or even at the bus stop. Make it easy for them to see the benefits and sign up and become instant influencers. Once they are hooked, you present them with what they need, even if they haven't asked for it. That's the power of SAP at work, gathering structured and unstructured data, sales data from similar customers, and creating a truly personalized experience. Now that they are hooked, what's next? Speak to their feelings and connect with them on those feelings. And show them how you can help change those feelings. It makes them feel good, and it impacts your bottom line. Just imagine the endless opportunities you could create to make shopping with you easy. Why would your consumers go anywhere else? Retain customers for life. With the right information, updates, and reminders of additional benefits. Show them how you are making a positive impact on their lives. What more could you ask for? Subscriptions are up, churn is down, promoters are up, detractors are down, and revenues are projected to increase. Transform your consumer's experience with SAP and you will transform your business.
Welcome back to the Marketing Essentials, everyone. I'm your host, Cost today. Today, we have an all-star industry panel with us today. I'm ecstatic and honored to introduce Maria Moraes, Paul Smith, and David Gruen from our Global Consumers Industry Principal team. Maria taking care of retail fashion, circular economy, and sustainability. Paul leading our CPG area, and David leading up grocery. How's everyone doing today?
Awesome.
Great.
Good. We're honored and ecstatic to have you back again on the series, and like as I mentioned earlier, an all-star panel here where we can really talk to people about some of these big changes and initiatives that are happening in the world. One thing that we were talking about last week as we were brainstorming these topics was this whole notion of how promotions are working now in this digital world, but also bridging those digital promotions and fulfillment across to this physical world that we live in. Maria, let's be honest, we all love a good deal. Whether or not that's 10% off a new purse or a new cologne or that new widget that's out on the market, we don't want to pay full price for it. We even have companies that have emerged, web-based companies like Honey, where they allow you to kind of automatically bring in these digital coupons and find them automatically for you without having to manually enter all these promo codes. The reality is, though, that's only one aspect. The physical touch points are starting to come back in. We've always lived in a physical world. And we're starting to get back to that norm. There's a big difficulty, though, for brands to connect this digital experience to the physical experience when it comes to these promotions. Why is that so difficult for brands today, and what should they really be doing?
I think that's the $1 million question, Costa, merging online with offline. But I think let's start with this. The store should not be seen as offline. There is no such thing as offline because everything is online. The difference is some companies have a central database of customer data and others don't. So the companies that have this 360 view of customers and the single source of truth for data are able to match, for example, the prices that they have in store with the prices they have online and also the promotions in a much better way than the others that do not have that. So what tends to happen in digital transformation, or when we see retailers trying to unify the customer database, we tend to see that brands have this tendency to try and replicate online the experience that they have in store. And what I would like is to challenge all retailers to think the other way around, think differently. Why not to try and match the experience you have online with the experience you have in store? And why not recreate those same experiences, including loyalty programs, for example? I think that would help to merge things and make the experience more seamless.
That's some very interesting points. Paul, I kind of just want to dive into you and take a look at how that same concept manifests itself into the trade promotions world, which is a little more of a B2B flavor, right? Instead of the traditional idea of this consumer, we have a brand. The same difficulties still apply there, unifying the experience, right? So how can brands ultimately unify their promotions and engagement when we're working in this kind of distributed model world?
Yeah, no, it's a good point. And actually, for the benefit of the audience, we should probably back up a bit and explain trade promotions and how they interoperate with marketing and promotional tactics. So, let's imagine you're in a Walmart and you see a range of Pringle flavors, for $1.50. Maybe 3 tubes for $4. That happens because Walmart has agreed a promotional price with Kellogg's for those particular SKUs for a period of time in a specific set of stores. And consumer product goods companies are planning and executing thousands upon thousands of these discounts at any one point in time. And they're intended to uplift their sales volume. Now, retailers love them because they can then use those either for more profitability, or they can pass on some or all of that promotional pricing to their consumers, which gives them a sales volume uplift as well. The same applies online. So when you are doing your online grocery and you see discounts in that online grocery, it's usually because that retailer has received a trade promotional discount for those products from the brand. So what this means is the brands and the retailers need to kind of cooperate, and they need to work on planning what are all the elements they need to unify to get the biggest bang for buck for that trade spend. So that means aligning what they're doing with their marketing activities, with their trade promotion activities. Sometimes that can mean when promotions are agreed, it needs to go hand in glove with kind of display stands, end caps, signage, and digital assets for campaigns as well. So, I mean, let's imagine that promotional pricing happens, say, for Halloween. You know, Pringles have produced a limited range of packaging and they've rebranded things. So you're now getting Sour Dream and Scythe or Volt and Sinister flavour. Changing packaging, changing branding, changing digital assets. So it can work both physically in store and online as well. And all of that has to be planned to work together. That means aligning what you're doing with your trade promotion campaigns, with the marketing teams, with brand marketing, and then having executed all of that, is actually paying attention to measuring its effectiveness, because that's, wrapped, it's all part of the meta topic of revenue growth management as well. And it's about making marketing activity and promotional activity work in harmony between the brand and the retailer for the benefit of the consumer. Because at the end of the day, what you want is a happy consumer that's stockpiled a load of madly named Pringles flavors for the next couple of weeks. So because that's success for everybody.
I want Pringles now. I don't know about anyone else here. And to be honest, if you head to the grocery store, you'll notice that the Halloween candy, at least here in the United States, is out very early this year. You're already able to go ahead and get those branded Kit Kats. The pumpkin-flavored Kit Kats are already out.
Candy corn, baby, candy corn.
Candy corn, exactly. There's so many interesting things that come out at Christmas time. David, I kind of want to shift to this topic right now, actually, in this topic of grocery. And I guess the consumer-driven world that we live in. There's this concept of a person of one, a very different concept in the B2B world, which is it's a collective, it's a group. Consumer's eyes, everything really needs to revolve around that consumer. But that's a challenge in the grocery space. Why? Data. Data is just siloed all over the organization still, particularly in organizations like the grocery space. Customer information being the new glue, being the new data, being the new gold. What's that importance of having rich customer data at your fingertips, and how are grocers making the case to shift across to digital?
Well, you mentioned this concept of a market of one, and that is a huge trend right now in retail, is the personalized promotions, personalized service, and that's going to rely on extremely rich and deeply personal customer data. And it's going to be critical to grocers. I mean, they have a lot of this data now, they're just not using it. But as they evolve from multi-channel to omni-channel to customer adaptive retailers, it's going to be literally the oil that lubricates the entire process is having this very rich, very relevant data. The grocery segment lags well behind other retail segments in their digital maturity, but the events that have been going on in 2020 have been a massive wake-up call for grocers to be digitally more mature. And most are unfortunately still crossing the divide of multi-channel to omni-channel. The impetus to do this, to become digitally mature and get this data and then harness it, today's grocery shoppers become extremely digitally mature and now expects a very seamless, highly personalized shopping experience. And the target is the customer experience becomes adaptive in nature, staying ahead of shoppers' expectations and continuously adapting to the expanding landscape while enhancing the shopping experience of consumers to be both personalized, as we mentioned, and dynamically self-adapted to their needs. So that experience takes on a predictive focus utilizing smart and self-adapting technologies, which can analyze information in real time and adapt its behavior accordingly to understand the immediate needs of the customer. I mean, for the first time in the entire industry's history, emerging technologies are available now that are going to allow grocers and their customers to share significant amounts of highly relevant and personalized information in real time. I mean, in addition to smartphones, there's literally going to be billions of smart devices that are being integrated into the retail infrastructure, including location devices and facial recognition. They're going to help drive this personalization and these services and create new forms of customer service and predictive insight. So as grocers strive to establish deeper relationships with each customer, the competitive bar will be raised significantly from differentiated customer experiences to unique and personal ones.
I mean, very interesting points there. The shift to mobile and the shift to this mobile first world. Share some interesting statistics because everyone likes statistics. The average human being pulls out their mobile phone on an average of 4 times from their pocket or their purse, and they're on their phone 3.5 hours to 4 hours a day. We really need to shift to this new norm of being able to quickly make a purchase from our mobile phones and have that fulfilled. Paul, I'm going to quickly just kind of shift this topic here into something that applies to grocery, but applies to the rest of the world, particularly with what's been happening this year. And that is the impact that supply chain has really had on fulfilling brand promise and fulfilling customer expectations. The reality is people can just quickly go to social at any point in time and just drop very negative sentiment whenever they want. And it's far easier for them to drop negative sentiment than it is for them to drop positive sentiment. How do brands make sure today that demand and supply is still met across both physical and digital orders?
Yeah, good point. I mean, it's one of the golden questions is how to avoid out of stocks. So that's where, previously we were talking about having this kind of promotional planning and for both trade promotions and the marketing campaigns that's kind of surround them and provide them air cover. What it means is you need to feed that planning into an integrated demand planning and forecasting model, because you've got to let your production and your packaging be ready and have that produced in predicted quantities so that you've got those exotic Halloween flavors available. And that's all aligned in time with the marketing messages and the promotional discounts that are being applied. So it's a matter of taking that and what David was saying about kind of the predictive element of retail, bringing it all together so that you've got this kind of holistic demand planning and forecasting view, so you know how many SKUs you need of which flavor in which stores by which dates. And at a store level, the brands themselves then need to make sure that they're properly executing retail store execution processes to make sure that those stores aren't out of stock, that they're staying compliant with those promotional agreements and the tactics, and also making sure that they've got the correct number of facings, the correct positionings in the stores. It also gives them the opportunity to keep an eye on what the competition is doing too, because in this increasingly real-time world, people are going to be able to adapt more quickly. So that means if you want to be able to maximize your shelf space and the opportunity for consumers to come in and find your product, you've also got to be responsive to what the competition is doing as well.
A lot of points there for me pointed to brand affinity and brand loyalty. I mean, at the end of the day, right? If you don't have the supply in the store, chances are I'm not going to be coming back again for you as a brand. I'm going to alienate you. I'm going to go somewhere else. I may try to buy it online. I look at the grocery world here, David, where things tend to be a little more complicated. And why is that? I mean, in the grocery world, your grocers are selling millions of branded products that don't belong to the grocer. They're selling Heinz ketchup. They're selling Pepperidge Farm bread. It's an interesting story here, which for me, as I look at it, really blurs the lines with respect to where that affinity actually lies. So as brands start to go more and more into this kind of digital world, is this really fueling more competition or co-opetition between grocers and manufacturers when it comes to really building up this brand efficacy and loyalty?
Well, it's a great question, and it's something that I'm fascinated to watch in development, because it's literally in development in terms of where is the loyalty with the customer. Is it with the brand or is it with the grocer? As we've mentioned several times in this discussion, this trend towards grocery shopping being more personalized, seamless experiences in a customer adaptive environment about predicting needs, it's incredibly important. Unfortunately, the brands may not have the insight or the resources of the technology that retailers have accrued over the years that can make providing that seamless experience possible. It's a challenge for them. Now that could rapidly change, but the first thing I do is just ask, well, why would CPG companies, why would a brand want to go direct to a consumer, which begs that competition or co-opetition? And there's really 4 reasons why I think CPGs would go directly to consumer: discovering greater insights and innovation about their customers and how the products are resonating, controlling the user experience of their brand, leveraging an omni-channel approach themselves, or influencing or replacing a retailer. And I think woven in between those are opportunities for both competition and co-opetition. So on the competition front, many CPG brands have already invested in a growing number of click and collect programs and home delivery services like Instacart and direct orders through Amazon. Instacart is rapidly expanding and could work directly with CPG companies to source commodity products, cutting out the grocers altogether and lowering overall prices for customers, which is a great thing for customers, not so much for the grocer. Amazon is heavily promoting subscription orders at reduced prices, which have huge ramifications on the grocery center store or center aisle. But from a co-opetition standpoint, I think there's tremendous opportunity for grocers and CPG companies to work more closely together by sharing real-time customer data and doing collective predictive analysis. So as grocers build deeper and more personalized relationships with their customers, their ability to predict and recommend products and product combinations in real time using location-aware scenarios with their customers will dramatically improve. I think as grocers enhance their digital maturity, their ability to engage with customers in real time will enable them to create and offer micro-personal promotions to individual customers. And grocers can work with CPGs to tailor product promotions and brand marketing at that customer level, improving the potential for conversion rates and lowering overall promotion costs and as promotions go all digital. I think CPGs could work with or subsidize the intelligent store infrastructure that dynamically caters to individual consumer needs or anticipated desires to provide that very rich, highly relevant and interactive customer experience catered to specific brands, and then leverage those investments for that collaboration that I talked about. And then finally, grocers could work with CPG companies to expand their product assortment while lowering on-hand in-store inventory through the utilization of product marketplaces like our partner Miracle.
So loyalty is a huge topic here. I mean, loyalty is fueling growth left, right, and center. It has a massive implication on the bottom line revenue growth for a lot of organizations. And it's also more efficient revenue growth for a lot of organizations, right? Because it's easier to keep people engaged and keep them going on as retentive customers as opposed to acquiring a new customer and getting them through that whole cycle. But at the end of the day, consumers aren't looking at it that way, right? Consumers aren't looking at the fact that a loyalty program can drive significant revenue for a brand. I want to share something interesting here. Qantas's loyalty program is the second largest contributor of revenue to the entire airline, of over 400 million Australian dollars just last year. So it's obvious that there's a big impact. Maria, interesting quote here that I just read from Annex Cloud, a partner of ours, where they say that increasing retention rates by just 5% through customer loyalty programs can boost revenues by 25 to 95%. That's massive implications. How can brands, I guess, portray that without making it, again, look like greenwashing, look like they're just driving revenue, and really tie it back to the consumer's growth?
Well, I think it needs to move from the conversation of transaction. And I know that's super hard. It's hard for CPG brands. It's hard for retailers because, I mean, and if you look at what both David and Paul were saying, I mean, that's how things work. You forecast what people are going to buy. You try to plan accordingly to that. That's a very transactional conversation. And, you know, I don't want to believe that that the future of retail and the future of brands is to mark down products, right? At least in fashion is not. There has been a huge conversation in the industry about how we've made our customers, you know, spoil them to just offer product during markdown periods, and during the rest of the year where there's no markdown, product stays in the shelf. This is not good, right? So loyalty should not be about the transaction. It shouldn't be about the price discount, the markdown. It should be about the experience that the retailer or the brand can provide to the customer. Something that goes a little bit beyond this monetary exchange. Here's the product, give me the, you know, the X amount of dollars for it. So today I actually have a good story. So today, this morning, I was walking on the high street in central London, and there was a huge queue to a store, which I leave then I could see it's Carhartt. And I was like, wow, why is this queue here? I mean, all the other stores were either empty or closed, but this one had hundreds of people queuing. And then I realized there were two magic words there: clearance, sales. So of course promotions can fuel customer loyalty, but it's a short-term thinking, right? If you need to get rid of a lot of stock, then yes, do that. But the purpose of promotions should be to reward customers for particularly the ones that have the potential to spend more or buy more often from you. So decreasing prices for the sake of decreasing prices affects margin and may burn a brand in the long run. So rewarding behavior is my thought. I think that's where we need to see. And Annex is just brilliant on that. So it's a good partner we have.
Absolutely. And it's just a human element, right? I mean, every human being out there likes to be loved. I mean, everybody out there likes to get that pat on the back. Everyone loves to, at some point, get some kind of a recognition, and no more so than consumers when they're spending their dollars to buy your products. That's where it becomes even more important in this world. Again, negative sentiment, dramatic impact on bottom line of revenue, and has actually been shown to decrease revenue for some brands by 20% just through basic negative sentiment coming through. We are unfortunately out of time for today. Thank you very much, everyone. Again, Maria, Paul, and David from our Global Consumers Industry Principal team. This is the first episode, hopefully, of many panels coming up. Thank you very much, everyone, for your time.
Have a good one.
Take care.